Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's happy hump day. It's Wednesday again, and it's 𝐿𝐸𝐴 coming to you live from the Voice of Confidence TV. Welcome to the show today. We are talking about some commonly asked questions on my channel, as usual, every Wednesday. And this one is, why does my voice sound so bad? Well, welcome to the show. You've got lots and lots of content coming right at you. Let's get started. And welcome back, everybody. My name is 𝙤𝐴. I'm a holistic voice and presentation coach, and I'm coming to you from the beautiful Gold Coast today. And as you can see, my background is a little bit different because I'm not in my studio in Sydney today. I'm in my beautiful mother's painting studio. You can see all the lovely paintings that we've got all around here. I'm very, very lucky to have a very, very talented and amazing parents, and I'm up here supporting them at the moment. But today we're going to talk about voice as usual. Now, you're watching this live across the Voice of Confidence TV on YouTube. You probably may be on Facebook and you're on LinkedIn. Now, if you allow StreamYard to see your comments, I can actually show them on the screen. So let's go and jump over to see who is live today, because this is absolutely live. Anything can go wrong, of course, because it's live. So let's have a look at who's here today and say hello. Good morning. Good morning. Vera is coming in from my YouTube channel. It's nice to see you here, Vera. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, today it's all about voice. If you have any questions while I'm on this live stream, please just pop it in the chat. Allow StreamYard to see your comments, and then I can show your comment on the screen, only if it's clean and non-political. Let's go. Today, it's all about the most common speaking issues in voice and public speaking. Now, as a voice coach, a holistic voice coach, I work with people who are singers, actors, and speakers. Now, believe it or not, these days, even though I sang and acted for more than 35 years, these days I help speakers more than ever before. Why? Because there's so many issues around speaking, and most of them are actually psychological issues that lead to physical manifestations in the vocal process. Now, I know that sounds like a lot of big stuff, but let me explain. So, for example, we're going to look at very common issues around the speaking voice, and some of these include, we're going to talk about this now, articulation, lack of articulation, nasality, trail off, rambling, monkey mind, stuttering and monotone, and of course, fear and anxiety. Now, I'm going to deep dive into some of those in a moment, but let's first look at why does this happen and what's going on. Well, as a holistic voice coach, the reason that I am that is very important to know, just quickly. When I was much, much younger, I had a lot of issues around my voice, a lot. I was losing it all the time. I got really bad nodules and lost my voice, almost lost my entire career and all of my income. When I couldn't speak, I couldn't sing, I couldn't teach, I couldn't perform. I literally lost my entire career in a very, very short time. And this is because I was using my voice the wrong way. The reason that I was doing that is because I was so anxious and nervous about speaking up and being heard. So I was living a very incongruent life. Now, that led to a lot of other muscle tension issues called muscle tension dysphonia, which some of you might have heard. And that just means that you have so many muscles tightening up that your voice gets strangled somehow. Your mindset and psychology affect your voice more than you can ever imagine. So when we look very quickly about the psychological and physical nature of voice, here's the thing. When we have some sort of psychology going on, now let's look very, very carefully at some really common ones. Fear and anxiety. Think about what fear and anxiety do to the body. What do you feel when you go into fight or flight? What do you feel when you're not confident in yourself? Think about all the physical manifestations of how that shows up. We have tight stomachs, we have tight throats, we have jaw tension. You might have TMJ problems. You might be clenching a fist. You might be holding your breath. The fear The mindset, the belief systems will create a physical manifestation of something happening in the body. Now, as much as we don't like to admit it, stress and anxiety and fear is pretty much the same thing. It's a raising of cortisol in our body, which is the stress hormone, and a release of way too much adrenaline. Now, when we have those things going on, it's because we had a thought and we have a belief system that's triggered a chemical response in the body. Now, this happens to all of us. It's absolutely natural. There's nothing we can do about that except break the chain that started the pattern. You can do this. When we say, I get stressed because of this is happening to me, or that situation makes me stressed, when we say those things, we take away our power. Why? Because instead of fixing it, moving through it, working through it, finding a solution, we just use it as an excuse to stay stuck, an excuse not to move to the next level in life. Think about it. When I was first a young performer, I was so scared of being seen and heard by all those people on stage. I literally held the microphone and hid up the back of the stage behind the horn section. There were 9 people on the stage, including me. I was the lead singer. I was supposed to be out the front. But at 17 and having very little experience alone on a stage, I hid up the back where I felt comfortable surrounding my people that I loved and trusted, and sort of sang amongst the horn players. Not a very good look for a beginner singer, but I was so scared. That's all I could do. Now, this whole background and history of not being seen and not being heard, not being able to speak up for myself really informed all of my choices and informed and stopped those processes from opening out as a young singer. So what I had to do is I had to face my fear and get over that to be able to become a polished and professional performer. And it took a long time, but I was very young and very inexperienced. Now, the thing that kills me the most these days is if you are still doing that at 30, hiding, at 40 or 50, you're not speaking up, you're not being articulate, you're not saying your piece, you're not being able to be seen and heard and valued and respected because there's something that's holding you back. These are all the things that will manifest into those voice issues that we're going to go into next. So let's just jump over the comments for a second because this might be a little bit of a touchy subject for some people. Okay, great. Thank you. We're going to go into technical details in a second. So Hannah said, why doesn't my voice sound good when I breathe through my mouth? Well, that's such an interesting question. And I've actually never had that one before. So thank you so much for highlighting that. I'm going to come back to that. And hello, Milo and fam. It's so nice to see you here. Welcome, welcome to the show. We've got our regulars that have come straight back in. And good morning, Ice. Thank you so much for being here. And perfectly said. Thank you so much. Okay, let's jump back in the banners for a second. Now, let's look at how these all physically manifest. And then I'm going to come back to your question at hand. Sound psychology, muscle affectations that show up in the voice. This is a combination of nature and nurture. So nature is what we have been given by nature or by God, whatever you believe in. The shape of our nose, the shape of our teeth, the size and shape of our soft palate, the strength and size of our vocal instrument. All those things we can't change. Our body shape, we can't change a lot. I can't make myself, 5 inches taller. I just can't. And I can't make magically my voice box be bigger. However, I can change a lot of things. So let's look at what we can change. We can change whether the airflow comes into the nose or comes out of the mouth. Hear the different sound? I can choose whether my pitch is high, which is my voice box raised, or lowered. I can choose that. I can choose whether my pharynx muscles, my throat muscles constrict, or whether they open. I can choose so much. I can choose a tight tongue or not a tight tongue. There's so many elements within our vocal instrument that we can change. Now, even when we add an emotion, how dare you? When we add an emotion, a vocal intention, a vocal color, your voice will change. It's It's a movable instrument. It's not something where you pick up a violin and play it and it sounds the same every single day. It doesn't. Every minute of every day, our voice changes. So my question is this: what perception are you giving to your audience right now because of the sounds that you're making? Think about it. What perception are you giving to your audience right now? Is it serving you or is it disempowering you? Let's move on. Now, let's look at your question for a second. Let's go back to the question here because this was a really interesting one. Where's the comments? Up here. Let's go back to here for a second because I've never had this question before. Why doesn't voice sound good when I breathe through my mouth? Well, there's obviously a lot of other stuff going on. This is why it's very hard to diagnose and prescribe things for people who are not in my programs, because as much as I love helping people for free on these platforms that I'm streaming on right now, if I'm not hearing and working with you, it's a little tricky to figure out what's going on. But most of the questions on my channel are actually pertaining to a lack of knowledge and a lack of skill. But let's start with the knowledge thing. So why does my voice sound good when I breathe through my mouth? Okay, I breathe through my mouth, 𝐴𝐻𝐻, all the time. Here's why. When I'm speaking to you or singing a song, it doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm vocally, say, public speaking or public singing, when we take a breath, like I just did then, the quickest way to take a breath is through the mouth because it's a big hole. I can pull air into my lower lungs very quickly within 1 second if I take a snatch 1 second inhalation with my diaphragm properly into the lower lungs. We do this as professional speakers and professional singers all day long. That's what we do. Now, when we have time, I can absolutely breathe through the nose and take an inhalation as well. However, here's the thing. If I take a breath through my nose, to get all that air into my lower lungs very quickly, it's going to take me about 3 seconds at least, because these are small pipes compared to that. Do you get the picture? It's super simple and it makes a lot of sense. Now, you'll hear a lot of voice coaches, however, saying you should never mouth breathe because you'll get dry vocal folds. Now, that is true. If you do that all day long as a speaker and singer, I sometimes do that for 8-10 hours a day. When I was singing on cruise ships, 4 hours every single day for 7 days a week for 6 months straight, I was breathing through my mouth a lot because you don't have time to breathe through your nose unless you're on a break, or you're listening to someone speak or listening to the audience clap or something. You just don't have time. So you have to mouth breathe if you want to be an efficient public speaker. Now, we're not talking about vocal care, dried out vocal folds, any of that today. So that is for another conversation about vocal care and maintenance. But let's look at this particular thing. Why doesn't my voice sound good when I breathe through my mouth? Well, if I hold back the airflow and then speak from my throat, then it doesn't feel good. If I have a really blocked nose and I'm a little bit blocked up, or my tongue is really lifted, it doesn't feel good either. So it's not really got to do with the breathing 𝐴𝐻𝐻. This is what we need to discern. What is really going on here? It's not the breathing. It's something that you're doing after the breathing. Now, keep this in mind. If you are not breathing correctly, if you're breathing from your chest, you get very little air into the lungs and you cannot project or construct very good, powerful sentences with a shallow breath. You just can't. It's really hard. And also, when you breathe from the chest, do this with me for a sec. Pull your tummy in. Breathe from the chest. Now I have to pull my clavicle muscles right up here to try to get enough air in. Now my voice feels really tight because it feels like I'm holding my breath because my tummy is too tight. See how my voice let go? When I'm using my stomach and my diaphragm correctly, the voice is open and rich and free and warm and resonant. Now, breathing is just a small piece of a very large puzzle, but it's a super important piece. And most people overlook this. This is the foundation of everything. If you can breathe effectively, properly, trained well for public speaking, you will be able to speak and sing on any platform, anytime, to any audience, guaranteed. Because you have to learn the foundation first. This is why I'm so adamant about what I do, because many speaker trainers out there, public speaker trainer, big speaker trainers, they train thousands of people. They are not voice coaches. They know nothing about voice. They've only picked up a few things about speaking, content, what to say, when. That's a little bit of my jam, but not really. The whole jam for me is learning how you can master your instrument for communication in life and business. When you can speak up and out for yourself with ease and confidence in life, you will be more happy and fulfilled. Simple as that. You will attract the right people into your life. You will get rid of the losers in your life who are dragging you down and those energy vampires that waste your time. When you do the same thing for business, you will get a promotion, you will be heard, you will be valued, you will be respected. Everything changes because it starts with the breath and the grounding. It sounds strange, but it's so true. I've seen people ruin their lives because of anxiety and fear, and it all starts to do with the breath and the mindset. So breath and mindset are the two major pillars that I have to teach all of my clients, whether they're paying $25,000 to work with me VIP level or right down to an online course. I teach the foundation first. It's very important. Now, let me go back to the other things that I had in mind, because they're all connected. Let's have a look at this. We're looking at today, just in case you're joining us live and you've missed some of the first content, please catch up on the replay, put #replay underneath. And if you're joining me now, shout out hello, because this is live and I'm still live across all platforms. I'd love to hear and see you on the screen. Now, the very first place that psychology shows up in the voice specifically is lack of articulation. Because if you are anxious, you don't believe in yourself, if you are used to growing up in a situation where children are seen and not heard, you won't actually speak properly, you'll mumble. You won't open your mouth because it feels weird to be it feels weird to have people paying attention to you. Do you understand? If you are a little scared of being visible, you are probably going to do one of these things. You're going to mumble, a lack of articulation, because it's safer. We'll get to the point. Nasality, if everything's in the nose, again, it's due to a lack of articulation because you're shutting your mouth because you don't really want to be heard because it's not safe. All of these things are because it's not safe. This is the point here that I'm trying to make. Your psychology is letting you down. Your psychology is creating a disempowerment in your body, the way that you're seen and heard in space. The trail off, that's starting with a really strong voice and then sort of losing confidence and then trailing off into it. It's almost like you wanted to speak, but then you lose confidence in yourself and self-doubt creeps in and your voice just trails off to nothing like this. It's impossible to hear you, so nobody will pay attention. These are all from psychology. The next one is rambling. When somebody rambles, they've also grown up in a space where it wasn't safe to be heard. And so they'll speak really, really fast, connect all their sentences together and speak with no stop for a very long time to get everything out before the person who's listening to them shuts down and walks away. It's a desperate attempt to connect with somebody and get the attention of somebody before they lose interest. If you speak like that, nobody will be interested though. That's the problem. The next one is stuttering and stammering. This is exactly the same sort of issue. When we arrest the breath and we're holding the breath because of fear, doubt, trepidation, fear of being seen and heard, that happens. Now, look, that always happens too when I get excited because I'm a little bit dyslexic and I had some speech issues when I was a child. This is why I'm so passionate about it. When I get excited, I speak too fast. We have to slow that down. But when it gets to be such a problem that it becomes a stutter or a stammer, that has to be fixed with the breath and the psychology. They're the two foundations again. Next one is monotone. Same thing. When I hear people from monotone with monotone syndrome, it's usually two types of people. One person might be from another country where that country, that culture did not encourage you to speak out, especially women. Maybe that culture, that country didn't encourage you to speak your mind or share your passion. Think about the way that an Italian or a Spanish person speaks with their hands, and they're all, their expression is crazy over the top. Their culture encourages that sort of expression. The same with Greeks. I was married to a Greek for 25 years. Same thing. They encourage that self-expression. But some places don't. I've got some clients from India and Asia and England, for example, and Canada, all who grew up with don't show your emotion, because showing your emotion is a lack of strength. It's a sign of weakness. Now, when you grow up like that, it's really hard to put color and variety in your voice because it's not culturally accepted. Again, it's a psychology to a manifestation of a physical problem. Do you see the connection here? These are all things that come from fear and anxiety and lack of being able to be seen and heard. Now, all of these things lead to a lack of confidence, a massive lack of confidence. And this is why my channel is called The Voice of Confidence. I help people with these issues all the time. Now, let's go over to the comments and see who's here. You are so welcome. I hope that helps. There's lots of videos on the channel, 𝙙𝙤𝙚, that will help you, sort of dissect what else is going on with your voice. If there's something else I can help you with, if you pop over to 𝐿isaJames.com, which is my website, you'll see that there's a bunch of little courses that you can enroll in. There's a beginner's course that introduces you to sound and psychology and voice and things like that, called Change Your Voice, Change Your Life. The next course that I highly recommend is my speaker training program, which is very broad and comprehensive. That will go. You will have so much information, your head will explode. Now, when you are ready to implement the information that you learn from the online courses, that is the time to step up and come into a live program with me, because that's when people really get heard and seen, and I can help you change the way that you communicate and the way that you sound so you can actually become the person that you want to be. This is why I do this. I want people to feel fully self-expressed in life. There is nothing more rewarding than that. There is nothing more rewarding in this life than connecting deeply with another human being. And yes, I was a singer for 35 years, and people think that I'm just an entertainer or just a singer. For me, like the epiphany happened about 35. It's not about that. It's about connection. And when you don't feel seen, heard, valued, or respected, there is no connection. It feels disingenuous. So I'm so glad that you're here today. Let's see. Zambi, thank you for zombie box reviews. Zombie box. Okay, when I get tongue-tied, no, when I talk, I tend to get tongue-tied. This impacts my speaking voice. Main problem is that I just blank on words or sentences that I want to say, and it takes long to retrieve the words. Yes, and zombie, this has nothing to do with memory problems. Nothing. There is nothing wrong with you. I want you to take a big breath and say that to yourself. I'm perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with me. What you need to look at, zombie, I wish I knew your name. It's a funny name. What you need to look at is, why am I afraid of saying these words to these people? What's really going on is underneath the surface. It's not anything to do with your memory. This is to do with fight, flight, or freeze. When we, in human beings, in modern society right now, when we go into freeze, we literally arrest the breath, hold the tongue, hold the breath, and then all the words stop coming. The reason is this: when we don't have blood flow and oxygen flow to the neocortex, to the thinking and analyzing part of the brain, we have no idea what we're going to say. Like literally all the words go out. And here's the reason why. When the amygdala fires, The amygdala is the warning system in the brain. It's telling you to run as fast as you can because there's danger somewhere. So your perception of danger is being heard, is speaking in public, is saying the wrong thing. There's some sort of pattern of behavior that you've locked in, and now it's become a habit. I want you to write this down. Zombie voice is habitual. So what have you learned around voice? Is it safe to speak up where you are, or when you were at home as a young child, or is it not? You need to look at that and unravel the stuff, the bullshit that we've taken on in our lives. Unravel all that and look at it and say, okay, this doesn't serve me anymore. What do I want to do? Let's build a new me. Let's build a new way of being. Let's build a new way of showing up in space, because that will change everything. And then you'll start to speak fluently. I call it verbal fluency. When we have verbal fluency, it's like we can speak off the cuff and download information from a higher source anywhere, anytime, because you're freely expressed. That's where I want everyone to be, because it is so different. Andy, it's nice to meet you, Andy. Lovely to meet you. Lovely to cyber meet you. All right, we are going to take off. It's time for breakfast, and I'm teaching for Icon University today. So I'm serving a bunch of beautiful souls at Icon University. I love, love, love teaching for them, who are becoming psychotherapists and holistic counselors. It's just my heart's work. So if you're a therapist, if you're a counselor, if you're a coach, if you're somebody who wants to share your message with the world and make this world a better place, let's connect. Make sure you subscribe and like the video that you're seeing here. Post any comments underneath. Please share this channel with anyone that will need this information and would really benefit from this. Now, before I jump off today, I'm just going to let you know, excuse me, I have a new masterclass coming up. It's new content because I've decided that I want to focus more on voice and public speaking. And the reason is this. Most people won't implement what I teach them around public speaking or performance unless they get this fixed first. The breath and the psychology and the confidence are the pillars of everything. When you get fully confident in yourself and you get rid of all that baggage that you're holding on to, I can then fully train you as a confident and motivational and inspirational public speaker. The world is your oyster. But we've got to build that from the inside first. I call that reverse engineering confidence. When you understand things from the inside out, then it's like this snowball effect. When you get all this sorted and grounded and the foundation done, then you can start to build skills from a very different place. That's how I work. I can't just teach you the skills, because guess what? I've seen some of my clients, this is no joke, this scares the hell out of me. I've seen some of my clients spend over $30,000 on public speaker training in other countries and in other programs. And they still didn't take action because there was no foundation. There was no voice training. There was no confidence training. There was no breath work or mindset work. It was just all content and marketing and publicity. But you know what? If you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to put yourself out there. So I work a little bit differently. So if you want some help in this, even if you can't work with me right now for whatever reason, come along to the masterclass. It's going to be probably about 90 minutes. So block out 90 minutes in your calendar. My beautiful assistant, Ice, will put the link underneath here. We have 2 coming up this month only. And then we're changing tack for the rest of the year. So I can't really guarantee what's coming up, but I can guarantee that this masterclass will have brilliant information and give you lots of value, all in that 1 hour to 90 minute session. I'm going to teach you more about speaking with confidence, clarity, and conviction, and teach you the 5 keys to a great sounding speaking voice. Now, this is what everybody needs to step up and feel better about themselves. Now, from there, at the end of the masterclass, I will share with you how you can join my coaching program. And that is a live program that I do every single week with my clients. They get up to 6 classes a month with me, all included in their program, and they get full access to that for 12 months, for as long as you need. Now, some people, they do great within 90 days and then disappear and go off and and fulfill their dreams and goals. Other people need a little bit more time, so I let them hang around in the fold until they build that confidence on their own time. Now, even if you're not ready with me, as I said, you'll get massive value out of this masterclass. So I hope that you'll join me. Let's jump back into the comments one more time before we finish up. You are very welcome. You are very, very welcome. It's lovely to have you here. If you've got any comments about the show, please share it underneath. I would love to share this with more people and get the word out, because your voice, your message matters. So I want you to think of, what am I doing here? What legacy do I want to share with this world after I'm gone? Because your voice matters. Please know that from the bottom of your heart. Okay? Have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you next time.